Michelle Granberg here. Welcome to Positive Energy, enlightening television for the evolving soul. Are you tired of working for someone else? Are you ready to make a bigger splash in the world? Well, you're not alone. Every day, folks just like you and me are taking the leap into entrepreneurship. My guest, Christine Gallagher, is a speaker, trainer, best-selling author, and award-winning business coach. She helps people find their passion and achieve extraordinary success. Positive Energy starts right now. Hi, Christine.
Hi, Michelle.
Welcome to Positive Energy.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be back. It's exciting.
I was going to say, welcome back to
Yeah.
Positive Energy. You're my first returning guest.
Oh, special. I love that.
And that's because I love having you here, because you really are a wealth of knowledge and wisdom for entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
And for non-entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
So we're going to talk today go more in depth into how we can help entrepreneurs really be successful using social media and marketing, et cetera, et cetera. But let's start talking about you, folks who might not know you. In brief, just tell us about your journey to entrepreneurship. What were your defining moments? What brought you to this?
Yeah. Wow. What a journey.
This moment.
Yeah. Several defining moments. So the short story is that about 8 years ago, I was working in a job that I could not stand and thought it was me. Thought it was, okay, what's wrong with me that I don't really seem to fit in any job and everyone else seems content? What's wrong with me? You know, now I look back, it was the entrepreneurial stirrings, but I didn't realize that at the time.
It was a little voice.
There was.
That it was getting louder.
It was getting louder, and I was like, you know, what does this mean? But I was scared. You know, all these things go through your head. So social media was blowing up at the same time, and that was my escape. You know, when I wasn't working, I was going on Twitter and Facebook and really connecting with people, and I found this whole world opened up. I saw these entrepreneurs, particularly women, who were like working from home and, you know, going to get coffee whenever they wanted and just, you know, made their own schedules. I'm like, this is
That
a
sounds
whole,
amazing.
I was like, I want to be
People
part
are
of
doing
this.
this?
Yeah, yeah.
I want some of that.
Exactly. It was a whole world opened up, and it was a lot of entrepreneurial women, and I was able to use social media. It was kind of leveling the playing field for me to hang out with them, you know, virtually, talk to them, ask them questions. And I thought, this is so amazing. And that's when I started seeing that, you know what, there's something else out there perhaps for me. So right around the same time, I started to hire coaches to figure out what it is I wanted to do if I did have my own business. And we talked about my strengths and my values and all that good stuff that coaches help you with. And ended up hiring a coach for a year, which was a big commitment, who specialized in a lot of online marketing, because that's what I really had to learn. I was savvy with social media and technology, and I kind of got that, but I needed to learn about, you know, getting clients and all of that. So right after I hired that coach, I got laid off from that job, and it was really a turning point where I had to say, okay, am I going to go back to get another job, or am I going to just do this? And so I hung out my virtual shingle as a social media consultant, because there were businesses who didn't understand it. And I thought, oh, well, this comes easy to me. You know, I can teach them this, I can help them with this. And it really just started from there. And then eventually grew into more, you know, marketing in general and mindset and all the stuff I do now. But that was really the genesis of it. It was a scary time, but it was also really exciting. And I look back and I'm like, I'm so glad I got laid off. So, you know.
It's easy to look back now.
It is.
Hindsight is 20/20,
Yes.
and I know you and I both believe there are no accidents.
No.
There are no coincidences, that there's a path that we're on, and there's something much bigger and a bigger picture about all of that. So
Yeah.
your story is unique to you, but at the same time, I hear a theme there that I'm hearing for myself and for so many others. There's commonality in all of that. So when you reflect upon it from that bigger witness point of view, you see this shift that's going on where people are moving from paycheck jobs to entrepreneurship. What's that all about?
Oh, yeah. It is huge right now, and it's so fun to see it, because when I first started, 8 years ago or so, it wasn't as prevalent. It was just really starting to pick up steam. I mean, obviously people have been entrepreneurs forever, but this idea of especially using technology and social media and really just having passion-based businesses and doing it for yourself was newer. And so now I'm seeing that there's so many more people who've jumped in, And it's exciting, it's getting noisy, but it shows me that that is where the tide has turned, that people are realizing that they can take these tools and the technology and do this themselves. And it's actually really exciting to see that progression happen.
It's kind of grassroots.
It is.
We're part of it. You and I are part of it.
know.
All those lovely folks are part of it. We're doing this together. We're pushing the edge of where all of this can go, and it's increasing, which says it's much more than a trend. It's a shift in the way we view ourselves in the world and what we can do with all of that.
Yes, and it's about more meaning and fulfillment.
Right, that's at the base of it.
I would say for a lot, especially women, because they're realizing that a traditional job or the 9-to-5 world is really not made for us, and it's kind of old school. And so they're looking for more flexibility and more options, and now they're getting it. So it's exciting.
Good for us.
Good for us.
We're not willing to settle anymore, and we want to serve at the same time. So you work with lots of what we're calling now solopreneurs or passion-based, heart-based entrepreneurs. What types of businesses seem to be the most in demand? In other words, give people a really good example of what are people doing to earn money.
Yeah.
What's their business model, these solopreneurs?
Yeah, so it's really fun to see all the different businesses that have cropped up and how people are taking their knowledge and translating it into a business and income. And so you're seeing a lot of people who are really teaching is what it comes down to, because what the web has allowed us to do is have a platform to share our knowledge in different forms. So what you might have considered a consultant in the past can now be a coach, a consultant, an author, but also take what they know and put it into product form, or teach a webinar around it, or have an event about it. And so I feel like right now education, and not in the traditional sense, but in the sense of you have knowledge and you can educate others, is really huge, because the tools are allowing us to reach many more people around the world, which is awesome. So that's huge. I'm also seeing a lot in the wellness space, health, the aging population, natural foods. A lot of people are waking up and realizing, wow, a lot of what we eat as Americans is just terrible, and the standard diet. And so a lot of people are really getting turned on to more of the natural living space and how that can improve their health. So I think there's a lot of health coaches and health wellness, consultants coming out that are really taking advantage of that. And the baby boomers, are aging, and so people are really looking at, wow, there's so many of them. What do they need? And they're really filling the needs in the market with that.
So it's all really birthed out of us wanting to take control of our lives and do as much of that for ourselves as we can.
Absolutely.
Really empower ourselves, improve ourselves, get healthier in mind, body, and spirit. And so we're just crafting our way of how we can help people, really to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about how to do that, how someone can get started, and the inside. I know you talk about inside out. So we got the inside, but we have to focus on what's going on internally that's going to block us or catapult us, and what's going on outside. Mindset, is it true that mindset, you say, is 99%, or is that not the number? Because that is so high. In other words, that's how important our mental attitude is. Why is that? Yeah. And what does it mean?
Yeah. Well, there's different numbers out there. I've heard 90, I've heard 95.
It doesn't matter exactly.
It's just a lot.
It's a lot.
That's all we really care about.
It's more than half.
Yeah. And so this was also a defining moment for me, was realizing that there's more to it than just the marketing or getting clients or having a website or having a sales page or copywriting. There's so much more going on inside. And so that's the mindset piece. And so I realized this with myself, and then I also saw it in my clients, because I could hand over everything I knew about marketing on a silver platter, and sometimes they still weren't moving forward. And I said, what is going on here?
What's missing?
Yeah. Well, it's all the inner stuff that we're either getting in our own way, we're stopping ourselves. We know we have to market, but we're not doing it. There's some resistance, or maybe we are marketing, but the energy around it is not good. So it's falling flat because of fear and all the stuff that we all grapple with. So I think it's just as important. It's probably even more important than marketing at this point. I mean, it's such a foundation for success that you really have to get clear on what's blocking me.
So you give people some steps for that, or strategies, or inspiration, and support around all of that, so that they know how really important it is. And would you say that piece has to come first, or at least you have to be working on that at the same time as working on those on the website and all the other stuff?
That's a great question. I think that, most people come for marketing and they want more clients. But yeah, at the same time, we also need to be working on the inside. And, people are like, oh my gosh, how much do I have to work on? I have to do a website and social media, and then I also have to like get rid of the inner stuff. And I'm like,
yeah. You pretty much forever, as long as you want to do it, you have to keep working on it, because it's going to bring stuff up. Stuff's going to continually come up, especially the more you come out of your comfort zone, new stuff's going to come up.
Yeah, I heard somebody say the phrase, new level, new devil. So even if you're extremely successful, you've got your own stuff at that level that you need to deal with. And so starting out, in the beginning with getting that solid foundation of knowing how to really get yourself in line is so important. So I teach a lot of tools around, morning rituals and, affirmations and mind movies. Yeah, and just anything you can do to fortify yourself. I tell my clients, you have to have a fortification ritual to keep yourself in a space of moving forward and positive, because, hey, one thing can happen and your whole energy's thrown off. Yeah. And it happens all the time in entrepreneurship, the roller coaster. So
it's not just full steam ahead, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Exactly.
So having your tribe, you talk about your tribe, and I sort of say being in the bubble, being around like-minded folks who are on a similar track will lift you up
so important
as you climb in that way.
Because it's lonely. It gets lonely.
Yeah.
You have to have people who are going to have your back and get it, get you.
So the way to be successful is branding.
Yeah.
And this is not a new term or a new thing, but it's being looked at more and more closely because of the saturation of solopreneurs who are out there. Branding has become more and more important. Why is it so important, and what is it for the layperson?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like I said, a few years ago, it wasn't even as big of a deal because there wasn't as much noise. But I feel like branding is really an expression, it's a communication of the essential truth or values of an organization, a service, a product, whatever it is you're putting out there. And so it's important to have that because you have to stand out from that noise. And it's also something that people are drawn to. When you can infuse your brand with who you are, then people will see that that's what you're about. Like, no one else can be you, right? You are one of a kind. So it makes a lot of sense that you would put that into your brand as a part of standing out there in the noise. So I think it's extremely important, and I think people don't always understand what it is because they think, oh, it's colors or a tagline or a logo, and it's
much
so
more
much
than that.
So much more than that. The cool thing is for people in passion-based businesses or who are on their own, they're solopreneurs, they can actually take what they love and what they're interested in and what they're good at and put that into their business, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it's really infusing your personality, your uniqueness, and making it visible consistently in a powerful, positive way.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about with branding.
Absolutely. It's an identifiable vibe, right? It's your vibe, it's your feel. People look at the brand and they feel a certain way.
Yeah. And they recognize it immediately after a while, right?
Yeah.
They want them to be able to really identify it with you before they even go any deeper and read something like, oh, that's Christine's stuff right there. I recognize it already.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because I did a video on this just this morning about how to stand out as a leader, especially in social media with all the noise. You really need to have that identifiable vibe to you, and also you have to stand for something and not be afraid to share what you stand for, because people look at that as, wow, she's leading the way or he's leading the way, and that's really important too.
Yeah, if you're holding back, you're not going to get too far too fast. It's going to be very slow going, or you're just never really going to pierce through to really where you want to be.
Exactly.
So I know that you are a techie person. I think you call yourself a geek, or what do you?
I call myself a geek. Yeah.
Proudly.
Proudly.
Geeks are proud these days.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, we are. I'm not. Yeah. So I know you're comfortable with technology. That's why you started on this path to some degree. But what do you say to entrepreneurs? Probably the biggest thing they say is, I'm not comfortable with technology, and they think they have to know it all or they'll do nothing. But what do you tell them?
Yeah. I love it. And it's so in tune with what we're talking about, because part of the branding, part of what I stand for is I'm trying to redefine what techie really means. So I'm taking a stand with the word techie, and I laugh and I say I'm taking it from geek to chic because, it's got this connotation. But what I say is, guys, if you are afraid of technology or you're like, I'm not a techie, that may have flown a few years back, but now we're all in this game together. We're all building businesses. A lot of us are turning to online means to get the word out. So by default, you're going to need to be a little bit techie. Yeah. And so it's really no excuse anymore, sorry, to say I'm not a techie person, because you're going to be doing something around technology. And I want to change the conversation around it. It's not about, geeks and nerds and, oh, that's not for me, or, it's like, you can actually embrace it because it's going to help you get out there more and find more clients and raise your platform. And it's actually very, very exciting.
Absolutely.
So,
it's a tool.
It is.
It's a tool that we're all harnessing. So you're either in that conversation or you're not. And you don't want to be, you want to be at the party.
Yeah, you're going to get left behind.
In the sandbox.
Yeah, you're not going to be there. Exactly.
So let's talk more about social media platforms, and there are many out there, and it seems like every day new ones are coming.
Yeah.
The ones that have been out there who have really been succeeding are even bigger than ever. Mm-hmm. Can you give us the top 3 or 5 social media platforms that we're familiar with? Anything else you know about those users, how many there are, and then I want to go into what makes each of those platforms unique, and maybe a tip for using them for entrepreneurs.
Sure. So I will say that Facebook is still the beast. It's got 1.2.
The one to beat.
Yeah, it's 1.2 billion, I believe, right now, users, which is insane.
Yeah.
Then we have, things like Instagram. I believe they're at 400 million, which is a very visual platform. It's a lot of, photos and images, which, we just eat up at this point in time because everything's visual online. Then there's also YouTube. There's 1 billion users on YouTube alone. Video, I know we're going to talk a little bit about video too. That is huge right now, getting out there in front of people. I always say it's the next best thing to face-to-face connection with people. Then you have things like Twitter, which is still around. I think it's 300 and some million. And you've also got Snapchat, which is really the latest hot thing that for the past few years has really been about, a lot of kids and high school students using it. But now, the adults always infiltrate. Like now we're infiltrating.
We're catching up.
Yeah, we are.
The kids lead the
way.
way.
Kids are like, great.
And then we go, they're using it, right?
Yeah, so that's right there, like the hot thing. And that's, I think, 100 million users. So the staggering numbers, it's not going away.
It's just not going away. Ignore it. Love it or hate it. It's not going anywhere. So how do we use those? How can entrepreneurs, a couple specific ways they can use those platforms? Yeah,
so of course there's so much we could talk about, but just in terms of quick tips, I would say for Facebook, my favorite thing right now with Facebook is the groups feature, because the thing about Facebook pages is that you would put a page up for your business on Facebook and you would actually get, people liking it and talking to you and engaging with you. But Facebook has changed their algorithms like they always are doing. And they're making it a lot harder for our stuff to get seen. So the engagement isn't happening. And the engagement is key to building relationships. I don't care if you're online or offline. So once that was sort of taken away, the enterprising entrepreneurs figured out another way to get that to happen. So now they're interacting in groups. They're running their own groups. They are using it to really express their brand, but also, they're running contests and they're answering questions, and it's a way to communicate with people. And I personally felt that this shift was coming because I had been sending a newsletter. I still send a newsletter every week. Had never missed an issue for like 8 years. And even I was feeling like, this feels very one-sided. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my community. And so a lot of the people are coming into the Facebook group I run, and I'm able to talk to them and really get to know them, which is huge. So that's a big tip for Facebook. If your Facebook page is like tumbleweeds rolling by.
Create a group or several groups.
Create a group
with themes.
Yep, with themes. Be helpful, give value, and you're not going to necessarily get a client the first day you open up a group and someone joins, but it's that know, like, and trust that you're building up over time, which is super, super key. And people want that these days. People are craving that. I would also say, for something like Instagram, if you like to post behind the scene things of your business, or with your clients, or you like to post infographics, or the quotes with the pretty background, which I really love, and if your market's into that, use Instagram to share that visual piece, because it might not be as engaging as something like Facebook.
But it's part of your branding.
It's part of your branding.
It's messaging.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's your message, it's your presence, and it can be really powerful. And you can also get people to find out more about you at your website when they find you on Instagram. So,
very nice.
Yeah. YouTube, well, video is
talk
gigantic.
about video. Video, because of YouTube. YouTube is what started it all. Now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It has exploded. We're in a video world. The
We are.
internet on your computer, it's a channel.
It is.
Sit down at your computer. It's like what television used to be.
Exactly.
But you can make it go at will.
I love that.
You can use that. So tell us about video, why it's important, and how entrepreneurs can maximize video.
Yeah, so video is so important because, as I said earlier, it's the next best thing to face-to-face. If we're in a virtual environment, it allows people to see us in the flesh and, not just text on a page or a picture. And people learn in different ways, and a lot of people are visual, and they like to listen and see you, and they learn that way. So I think that's a big part of why it's blown up, but also it was inevitable in my mind, because TV's been around for a long time. We've been used to watching TV, on our TV set, and here comes the computer. Well, it just makes sense, for people who were using the television for entertainment, education, whatever, that they're now using that online. And I think that
it's all coming together.
It's all coming together, and it makes a lot of sense. And I think that entrepreneurs who aren't using video are really missing out in a way to engage people.
Those who are and know how to use it well are ahead of the game, are really getting followers, and they're getting business. It's fascinating that now there's all the live feed.
Yeah.
That's now the next newest thing.
Yes.
Facebook has it now, and Periscope.
Yeah.
So when you're watching something, literally it's happening in the moment, in real time. People talking, engaging with people.
It's amazing. And it's so funny because remember when they used to talk about like video phones back in the day? Like that was so futuristic.
Like the Jetsons.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, that's going to happen.
Right.
And then Skype came along.
Hello. Right. And now you can...
We're living it.
Right. You can live broadcast. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. So the tools are fascinating.
Well, you make some really great videos, and I know that that's a regular part of your business. So you're demonstrating that and really being an example, and people can really learn through watching you do what you do. And I've been to your live seminars, which are wonderful, and you give really outline such great tips. So people should come to really how to use it, both on camera as well as why you would do that and how you use that for marketing.
Yeah. I'm all about the steps. About the steps.
Break it down.
Yes.
Make it measurable,
understandable.
Make it repeatable and understandable and doable.
Yeah.
So tell us what's going on in your business right now. Like what are you most proud of right now in your business? And what are you most proud of, or what are you most grateful for? Your business has really grown.
Yeah, I would say that right now I'm just really grateful to feel like I'm in tune with my community and my people. I try to always stay on top of what they're looking for and what they want and their needs and respond to that. And so the Facebook group is a perfect example of that. I started getting this gut feeling a year or two ago that like I needed to be with them more and I needed to talk to them more. And the newsletter just was one-sided. So I'm really excited and proud that I'm starting to build this bigger Facebook community, that I'm using things like Periscope or Snapchat so that people can get a different feel for me instead of just the written word, the video. That to me makes me feel really good because I always describe myself as an extroverted introvert, or they might use a term now, it's called ambivert, apparently, is what it's called, ambivert. And so I can tend to be a little bit introverted, but I feel like when I use video and tools like this and I'm sharing my knowledge, it feels very natural to me. And so I feel like I'm doing a service for them, and it's something that really works for me and feels good. So,
and you must be getting the feedback because you actually are engaging, whether it's through social media and through those platforms or in person.
Yeah.
That's the juice of what keeps us doing what we're doing, is that feedback.
Yes.
That people say, I love this. This is working for me. And watching people's businesses grow.
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. And I always say to people, and Michelle, you were at one of my events recently where I talked about this, where zero, one is greater than zero. It was a Gary Vaynerchuk video where he said, people get so upset if they don't get a lot of views or they don't get a lot of comments. And he's like, look, one is greater than zero. You never know who that one person is who's going to see that or, approach you from that. And so that's what I tell a lot of newer entrepreneurs. Like, oh my gosh, don't expect to have 100 million people watching it when you're just starting, but just be grateful that you're able to reach people in like Shanghai or wherever from your living room or your bedroom. I mean, that's amazing. And just be of service.
It really is an amazing thing how we can reach each other. It's just incredible. And there's something so kind of romantic. People want that viral. They want their things. Everybody thinks everything can go viral right away. That doesn't happen. It's actually rare, I guess, right?
It is very rare.
That things go viral, but you just hear about it and so, I'm going to put this out there and it's going to go viral.
Yeah, not a lot goes viral on its own. There are things you can do to help it along, but it's rare.
Right.
So, don't expect that. Yeah, don't force that, but just know that even if you have a few people watching, you are putting your value out in the world. You never know who's going to watch the replay or, whatever. So just keep at it.
Yeah. And it's out there. Now it's
Forever.
just out there. You've opened that door. You've sent it out there.
Yeah.
Who knows where it's navigating to and who it's going to reach even a year from now, 2 years from now, or 3 years from now. So what's new in your business? And what are, what do you have going on? What's on your calendar?
Yeah.
And tell people about the Impact Academy also.
Okay, so we are excited because we have a new website. That was the big thing this year. She's Got Clients has come into 2016. So that was a huge thing. And I'm also doing, live events. I love doing live events. Periodically through the year. We have some half-day events this month that we're doing in Philadelphia and New York, and essentially that is just for me to get out, meet new people, and really present my knowledge person to person. So we have some of that going on this month, and we have an event coming up in Princeton in May called Inside Out, and that's all about mindset. So I'm really excited about that. Last year was the first year we did it. It was so amazing. The feedback was tremendous, and so we're doing it again. Can't wait for that. The other thing that's really exciting is, like I've been saying, all of the new ways that we're getting to engage with people. I really think that this is what it's all about. If you really get down to the heart of what's going on out there, because things shift, marketing shifts, people's response to you shifts. Something that worked 2 years ago doesn't necessarily work anymore. So I really feel excited that myself and my company, we stay on top of what sort of is the pulse and what people are looking for, and try to provide that and give that to them with what they're saying. And you also have to ask. I always tell people, make sure you ask what people want. And people say, well, how do I find out what people want? You have to just ask.
Don't have to read their mind, just ask.
Absolutely,
and they will tell you.
Exactly. And so Impact Academy, you mentioned, is my year-long coaching program. We work with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs who really want some intense coaching and mentoring around how do I take my business where I want it to go? That could be, you're just providing more for your family, or that could be $1 million business. Whatever it looks like for you, we give you the tools and the strategy to get there. And my specialty is the social media stuff, but also taking the techie jargon, breaking it down, making it easier to understand. So I think people appreciate that.
So given that you're the social media queen, sort of, in some ways, you're really easy to find, that means.
Yes.
So people just need to get on their computer and search for Christine Gallagher or go to she'sgotclients.com.
Yeah. Christine Gallagher is a common name, actually. But
okay. But I bet you'll come up first anyway.
I do come up, yes.
Pretty high.
But yeah, she'sgotclients.com, and you'll see, all my videos out there, and I won't be hard to find.
Good. I hope people will follow you. Do you want to share with us, end with one of your favorite inspirational quotes? Because I know that you love that and have a lot of those.
Yeah, I always have some to pull out of my pocket. So there is a quote by a guy named Raymond Hollowell way back. And I had heard this on a motivational CD or something I was listening to years ago, and it said, no desire is felt until the supply is ready to appear. And whenever I hear that, I get this warm feeling just inside, because it reminds me of, especially when I was back in that job I couldn't stand. And I kept hearing different variations of that quote from different people, and I thought, I got to pay attention to that. And so what it really means is, even if you're going through something, even if you're in a place you just can't stand or you're struggling, if you have the desire for something better, it means it can happen. And that's super powerful and like comforting as well, I feel.
Thank you, Christine Gallagher, for being on Positive Energy.
Thank you.
And thank you for the work that you are doing in the world.
Thank you so much for having me.
So are you inspired? Are you ready to get yourself out there? Let me know what you thought about our show. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to nurture your soul, be kind to one another, and join me next time right here on Positive Energy.